Hello, intrepid followers, subscribers, and watchers of my YouTube video. Yes, that is the Phantom Menace in the background on the TV screen. So I lost my footage of my opener for day one. So here's my opener with my hair, and it's semi kind of a mohawk. So yeah, so Renton City Comic Con. Let's see what it's all about. Things to see and do. You know what's interesting about this hotel? It's not just a hotel. It's also an apartment complex. So right behind me, these are the mailboxes of people that live in the apartment complex. So it's a really cool little building. It's both a hotel and an apartment complex. Different style of things.
I have lamps.
Look who I found! It's Captain Slinky!
Hi, everybody!
He brought his lovely booth of misfit toys. The thing is looking for a home. If you know anyone that loves a thing, here's a thing they need. This is the thing they need to get because this thing needs a place for him to thing out. Right? Right, Captain Slinky?
Right! Sorry, I was distracted by all the gold and toys.
All the golden toys. My favorite is this one right here. Look at this, guys. Oh, yeah. It's critical. The most critical of all. He's so lit from it being critical. And then you can't go wrong with Halo Cowboy and his buckaroo. Halo Cowboy has his buckaroo with him. I think that's Kirk from the action figure days. So it's fun. This is my favorite, one of my favorite booths. Let's see more of it.
I'm Will from Cosplay, and I'll be moderating this panel. Let's have everybody introduce themselves. Let's start with Wolfgar at the end there. I mean Scott.
I'm Scott Pope, Wildcard Creative, not James Wolfgar of Wolfgar Weapons, so I can be confused with that guy. And with me as always is
Brad Halleck, BH Cosplay.
Shawn, Shank Cosplay.
Speak up.
Oh my god, my name's Heather, and I'm part BH Cosplay, but I'm also part of Epic Echo with.
I'm Beverly from one half of Epoch Echo and also down in Creative Studios.
And I'm Steve from SKS Props.
Thanks for coming. Hey.
Yes, thanks for being here.
So this is a Q&A session, so you can ask them anything you want about how they make stuff, what they do.
Or if you're making something, you have a question.
You have questions?
Something. Did you have a
Need
question?
help?
What's the main, what do you have like a specific thing that you usually use?
To make costumes?
Yeah.
Like a material?
Yeah.
Yeah, a really great question.
Favorite material to use making costumes?
I'd say we are all primarily foam people.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a lot of different kinds of foams that we can use, but primarily we use EVA foam. It's very easy to find. You can get it at a lot of hardware places. I like to get mine from Harbor Freight. You can also order online at different websites. A really good one to get them, get it as TNT Cosplay. They actually give you samples of their foam. Even though it's EVA foam, a lot of people make it differently. They have their own chemicals, like I said, putting it. I really like using TNT Cosplay.
And so like the foam anti-fatigue mats that you get for like to stand
the TNT stuff is that it's smooth on both sides. So like, for instance, my shield, I used the floor mat foam because the back of it, actually the texture worked for what I was doing, and I didn't mind that it had a texture. But if you're doing something where you're going to need to see both sides of it or things like that, then the smooth foam is much nicer. Then you don't have to worry about trying to sand off the texture on one side or cut it off with a bandsaw.
You can also find foam from the craft store, like Joann's or Michael's. And they also have sheets, smaller sheets that are a little, you don't have to use a whole entire roll. And some of those smaller sheets have a sticky back on there. It's kind of helpful for making cool projects or little details on things too. That's what I use sometimes. But yeah, your local craft store, hobby store can carry that kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
But the big thing I would say before we get into all that though is safety in cosplay. And so if you are going to be using foam or if you're going to be using any other materials, eye protection, wear respirators, not a dust mask, like actually wear respirators from like 3M because all that stuff is it's toxic. I have sneezed out I don't know how many foam particles over the years because regardless of even how good it is, like you'll blow your nose and you're like, wow, that's probably down in my lungs. So.
What type of paint, the best type of paint to use on a video game?
With me, I like to use either Rust-Oleum or Convlog. Those two paints they actually bend with the foam. There's some paints I was not meant to bend, like Duplicate, because you use that mostly on vehicles. From my own personal experience, when I was starting off, I used that when I would move around, they'll flake off.
Depends on your application too.
Yeah.
If you're airbrushing some details on, if you're hand painting some details on, like this is actually all foam, like even the chaps and everything. But there's so many different details. Like it's sealed in different mediums. It's painted in different mediums. You know, it's some parts airbrushed with Graytex, Wicked Colors. Some of it's sealed in Creature Cast. Some of it's plastic dip sealed. Some of it's Epsilon Pro sealed. And everything has a different paint, looking for what color and what texture finish I want to get. So like you're hand painting something. I know Steve really likes the Liquitex heavy body paints.
And if you want to if you're painting on foam, you want to keep it flexible. Sometimes that makes a difference for what kind of paint you use as well. One method that I like to use is to mix some fabric medium in with acrylic paint. And that keeps it flexible so it won't crack if you're wearing it or if you're going to be using it for anything that you don't want it to crack for. But yeah, it's just finding that like Steve was saying, whatever works for you, your favorite method. I like experimenting with new stuff and
It's
the
just hard to
hardware
remember
store.
to buy more materials. Don't be afraid to experiment with materials. They're usually like acrylics and foam don't cost a lot, and so there's not a whole lot to lose.
They're also non-toxic most of the time.
Yeah.
One thing that we
So what can sometimes happen at cons is the elevator gets too full. So if you're close enough to stairs, take the stairs. This hotel has three elevators, and they're full every time. So I'm glad when I'm going down, I can take the stairs down, which is great. So you just saw a panel where I was at for cosplayers. Some of my favorite cosplayers and some people that I know personally were on that panel. It was really great to see them and hear them talk about their creative ideas and share them with other people. It's really cool. Anyway, let's go see what else is going on. I think there's another panel I want to try and go to, so let's see if that one's still open.
Thank you all for being here today. I find that most podcast panels are unhelpful, so we're going to try to do one that is helpful. So the people who are going to help me do that today, let's bring up first, and let's just start clapping now, and then just keep on clapping until she comes up here. Genevieve has, after these messages, and the Grapes of Red, R.I.P. Keep going, big minute. Nice. Okay, cool. We also have Mr. Aaron Mason. Let's get it going for Aaron as well. Okay, cool. Yeah, energy. Just act like you're on Ellen, you know? Scales all the way down here. Aaron Mason, a podcast producer for Cairo Radio, and another one of the former Grapes of Rad, R.I.P. Very sad to see it go. I wanted to start with just like a little bit of, if you could just tell us a little bit more about who you are, just quick intro stuff. The entire thing's not going to be about us. It's going to be about podcasting.
Yeah.
I think that if people know who you are,
That helps.
that'd be helpful. Yeah.
It's good to generate interest in your subject before you actually talk about it, then people care what you have to say about the thing.
That's good. You should write that down.
My name's Aaron. I'm a podcast producer at Cairo Radio, which is Cairo Radio 97.3 FM. It's 710 ESPN. I manage all of the podcast things that happen in that building.
My name is Genevieve Haz, and when I am not being an amateur podcaster, I'm a speechwriter. But I've been doing After These Messages for about almost 3 years now with my partner Andrew. He's actually a full-time podcaster and probably should be sitting in this seat, but here I am. I muscled my way in. As far as being a podcaster, we started doing After These Messages, which is a weekly hour-long show about TV commercials, or just the commercials you see when you're watching Hulu or whatever, YouTube. Because we love talking about them, on our own, and so we thought maybe we'll just do a little project about it, and it's been going for 3 years.
Let's start with really basic stuff. I think the number one question I get from people who might not even know what podcasting is will you make any money doing it?
Can I field that one?
Yeah, go for it.
No. No. Somehow I conned a company into hiring me to do podcasting. So that's my full-time job. But The Grapes of Rad was a podcast that Genevieve and I did that I started 10 years ago, and I don't think we ever made any money. But that wasn't the point.
Yeah.
There are definitely opportunities out there for people to make money. But advertisers, there's Patreon. Those seem to be the two biggest ways that people generate revenue with podcasts. But
Grapes had a little bit of a listener donation. I know it wasn't a money maker in the sense that it wasn't self-sufficient.
That's true.
But it wasn't totally. It wasn't totally a sink for.
Yeah,
the
we
show.
had a tip jar.
Yeah.
There are ways in the podcast, as you I assume know, is its own sort of culture, and with any sort of culture, you have your own cultural rules, and I think one of them with podcasting is really the manners of it, is putting something out there for you, the audience, and that's why we're doing it. And if you would like to contribute because you understand that there are things involved that cost money, well then we'll leave that ball in your court. So that seems to be the way that it works culturally with podcasting.
For me, when we started doing After These Messages, it was never about making money, and in fact, we have not pursued any opportunities to make money. I think we could we have a community of between 1,500 and 2,000 people who are regular listeners. We're really grateful for them and their involvement and support, but we're not in it. We're not doing it because we need to make money, and in fact, for us, it's a hobby and it's a pleasure to do it, and trying to layer on some kind of monetization of it doesn't sound. I don't think the reward would be worth the work for us. So for me, it's not about that. But I know, Nick, you've had a different. I think your approach has been different.
Yeah, it's been a little different, but I think that you're spot on in that it so much comes down to passion, and you just have to be passionate about what you're putting out there. Otherwise, no amount of money that you get for doing a podcast is going to make you feel excited about doing the podcast. You have to be excited about doing the podcast.
And your audience can tell. You can tell right away if someone's doing something for a money grab or if they're doing something because they actually care about it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, money shouldn't be a motivator. And
especially if you're just getting into it. Start by getting a feel for what you like doing on the mic, how you like structuring your show, what you can talk about with enough regularity to do even just a series of shows, even just a finite mini-series.
Yeah, let's go there next, actually, because there are people in here who want to start a podcast. I imagine this happens to you too, as well as it happens to me. People say, oh yeah, I've been meaning to start a podcast on X.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And what do you usually say to that person?
Yeah, I get that a lot. I work in a building with professional talkers. It's a few radio stations. So, I have this idea and I think it'd be cool. And my response is usually like, well, let's hold on a minute.
First, let me pour cold water all over.
Yeah, all over your idea.
Yeah.
Let me disappoint you immediately. There's so much more involved than just the idea. The idea is very important, and it's important to be able to communicate your idea in a very short amount of time and have it make sense and catch on to people. Your Last Meal, the food podcast we do at work, it's about famous people, and it's the stories behind the foods they love most. You have an idea of what it's about. People generally are, okay, I get that. But beyond that, you have to understand what work is going to go into it. You're not going to be a huge staff. It's probably just going to be you and your co-host if you have one. And I usually tell people to refine. I like Firefly, so I want to do a podcast about Firefly. Well, there's a lot of those. So you're entering an extraordinarily crowded marketplace. So how is your show about Firefly going to be radically different from other people's shows about Firefly? If you can't solve that, then I would move on to something else.
And generally speaking, it needs to be something more than, yeah, but I'm doing it this time.
Right. If you're already a known personality, then you can get away with it because people are automatically interested in your take on something because they have a relationship with your personality as a celebrity or a comedian or an actor or something. But yeah, not us. Nobody in this room is being clamored by people to hear what they think about their favorite.
Wait, raise your hand if someone's clamoring to hear what you have to say.
I can hear those from you guys.
Okay, so I'm back in my hotel room because I had some vlogger problems. I ran out of space on my camera, so I fixed that. So we're gonna back into action. What you just saw was some video of a panel I went to on podcasting. So it was a really fun panel. I got to see some podcasters. One of them I knew. He's from Northwest Nerd. So I thought it would be cool to share that with you guys. So if you're into content creating or something, you have some content to look at and understand what it means to create content like vlogging or podcasting or anything like that. Okay, so I found the 19th floor. They're on different floors. There's the 19th floor, the 2nd floor, and the 1st floor where they have different exhibit halls. So on the 19th floor, they've got a mix of artists and a cosplayer. Actually, I think someone from a show. No, it's someone from a show. I don't remember the show, but I'll find out. I'll look at it again. And they got a really cool little booth. It's for G.I. Joe. It's really cool. And there's some mini brick figures and some other people selling stuff too. It's really cool. And there's 2 artists that have some of my favorite art from comic books or TV shows I used to read. Robotech, yay. So I might be getting something from them, small, because I don't have room for anything big on my walls. My walls are already pretty full of prints from all the cons I've been to before. So let's wander around and see what we can see. So I found some cosplayers and photographers, and we're just hanging out, you know, like we normally do, in a garage, doing video and photography. So, you know, it's pretty fun. Okay, everyone, well, this has been RenCon. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you at the next con, which I think is in October in Canada. It's called Fan Expo, and then we have Jet City in November, so I'll see you guys there. I'll see you on the flip. Bye! There it is, picking his nose, as usual.
That's right.
Yes,
Hey, man.
the sexiness.
I even make that look sexy.